I am Magnus Walker, 45 years old, from Sheffield, England.
45 years old?
45 years old.
You don't look it.
Well, there's some grey hair coming in right there.
Yeah, I get some grey hair. I'm only 27. I'm starting to feel
Well, you're
bad
starting young.
Yeah, starting young.
Yeah, you're one step ahead of me.
Starting to feel bad about it, you know?
Well, you just got to keep growing the beard as well. It'll be okay.
Oh, I have terrible facial hair, too. So I can't really... I grow facial hair and I call myself Patches.
Oh, Patches.
Yeah,
well,
it's terrible.
Persistence and perseverance.
So how long have you had the beard and the hair?
Well, I've had long hair since I was 15, so by my math, that's 30 odd years. The beard I've had probably a dozen years, and now I'm sort of at that afraid to cut it. You know, it's getting thinner, it's falling out, it's getting grey, but it's sort of the Samson theory of lose my strength if I cut my hair. So, you know, plus I guess I'm getting known for the bearded, long-haired Porsche guy.
Now, before we get too far into this interview, I'd just like to share with you something that I noticed while walking around the 2013 Pinehurst Concours with Magnus Walker. I talked to him a few times over the given weekend, hung around with him. We'd walk around, look at some cars, or just talk about whatever. But I noticed something very interesting. Most people in the car community that are of high stature, celebrity status, they're very kind, they're nice. They'll stop, give an autograph, take a picture, or whatever. But not to the level of Magnus Walker. Now, this is a guy who has literally jumped to fame out of really the middle of nowhere, in a sense, in the car community. But the way he stops and converses with people, has a conversation about cars and about their cars, not just his, but all of theirs too. He's curious about what makes people tick in the car community. That's just very cool. And it's something that in this next clip you'll see is very evident in the way he talks to this young college guy. Now, Magnus has no idea that I took this video. They were just talking. I had been talking with Magnus and just turned my camera on when I noticed him pulling out his phone to show something to this college kid. So, enjoy this clip.
That sounded good. Being a Subi guy, check that out. Everyone always goes, oh, it's just a Subi color combo. It's Subi blue with gold rings.
The classic WRC?
Yeah, exactly. Porsche guys give me flack for that. The Subi Turbo.
The 930?
Yeah, 930. But just the color. You know, it's an oddball blue and then with the gold rims. Nice. Everyone always compares that to a WRX.
Yeah, that's a classic color combo.
Yeah, it is. It looks awesome. Looks awesome on the Porsches as well.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
So that's cool.
Now, of all the shows that you've been to, you've only been to 2 Concours events.
That's correct.
Amelia Island and now Pinehurst.
Yep.
It's inaugural year.
That's right.
And you're not much of a Concours guy, though. You kind of celebrate Porsche in driving, racing, and...
I am more of a driver guy, but I have to be honest, you know, this Concours thing, it's fun to come to and see all these cars, you know, on a nice golf course. It's fun to meet all these interesting, enthusiastic, educated car owners, not just Porsche owners. So, you know, I'm learning to like the Concours. You know, I used to be one of those guys, and I still am predominantly a dirt doesn't slow you down type of guy. But it's just a great environment, and it's great to be invited here. And it's apart from the rain, it's actually been a really fun day.
Now, obviously you said this is your anniversary weekend as well.
Yeah, my wife and I, Karen, we've been together 19 years, and our wedding anniversary was May 1st.
Wow, so congratulations.
Well, thank you very much.
And now, of any of these cars here at the event, what would you most want to take her out in? If you wanted to take her to the mountains, or you wanted to take her to dinner?
Well, it's really easy. The car we're standing right behind is the car I would take. The 67R right there is the car I've lusted after for quite a long time. I've been inspired by that car. I've built a few of my own sort of R-inspired cars. So that would be the car right there.
Well, that's good, because that is a fantastic car.
So if someone can give me the keys to it, I'll be on my way.
I think I can make that
You think
happen.
you could arrange that?
I think I could arrange that.
Yeah.
I know the guy who owns
You know
this
the guy that owns that
one.
one?
I do. I know him pretty well.
Well, that's
pretty
good.
Well, I mean, he knows me by the wrong name.
Okay, well, that's good to know.
That way,
Well, I'm talking to the right guy then.
Exactly. If something happens, that way he's looking for a guy with a different name.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
and he's looking for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you gave the keys to me. I got it.
Now, I heard you talking before that you've had Challengers in the past.
I had 269 Super Bs. Yeah, at one time, probably a dozen years ago, I wasn't purely a Porsche guy. You know, I had at one time, I'll go through the list. I had a 65 GT350 Mustang R replica, 67 E-Type Jag, 269 Super Bs. One was a 383 4-speed, The other one was a 440. I had a 73 Lotus Europa, and I also had a 79 308 GTB Ferrari, along with about 3 or 4 Porsches at that time.
So you've literally had everything that most people have yearned for and obsessed over for all their lives.
Well, I've had what I've obsessed over. I don't know what everyone else obsesses over, but my thing was I have a need for speed. I like to cover my bases, so I had the American muscle cars. You know, I was a big Dukes of Hazzard fan growing up as a kid, so even though I didn't get the Charger, I got the Super B, and that was just gobs of fun. But it's interesting, the Mustang, the Super B, I had the European sports cars, the E-Type Jag, the Lotus, Ferrari, and each one of those was good at one thing.
Right.
But the Porsche was great at everything. So over the past probably dozen years, I gradually got rid of everything that was a non-Porsche. Because, you know, you get behind the wheel of the Porsche and it was just magical. You're connected to the car, and it just did everything right. The other cars, as I say, would do 1 or 2 things right, but the Porsche was just a lot more versatile.
Now, of all the Porsches in history, what's one that you want to own outside of this 911R that's just basically a street car?
Well, I think I acquired the one I wanted to own, the 64 911, which, you know, is the birth of the 911. It's where it all began. So now I'm chasing early turbos, because as a 10-year-old growing up in England, the 77 Turbo was the car that I fell in love with as a 10-year-old, so I'm chasing early turbos. So, and I'm starting to expand my horizon beyond my early years. I'm looking at GT3s, 964 RS would be great to have. You know, so I'm trying to experience all that the 911 Mark has to offer, not just the beginning, which is obviously purely, you know, where most of my passion is with Porsche 911s, but now I'm expanding, you know, into the newer models.
Now, have you ever liked anything from Audi, Mercedes, BMW? Ever been an M guy or an AMG guy?
Well, with BMW, I'd take 2002 TII and a 3.0 CSL Batmobile would be great. So those would be my BMW choices. Audi, Mercedes, no, not really. Even though the other day I was at the Peterson last weekend in LA, and they had a Cars and Coffee thing with Porsche and Mercedes as the featured mark, and there were 14 Goldwings there. So if I was going to take a Mercedes, a Goldwing would be nice.
Well, that would be amazing. Now, I know a kid, a 17-year-old kid who's into karting. He just bought himself at 17 in 2002 that he's going to fix up and actually turn into a TII.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are great looking cars.
Yeah, those are really cool. He bought a white one, nice condition, no rust, which is good, obviously.
Yeah, silver or orange would be my colors.
Orange, yeah.
Yeah,
See,
orange would be
my
awesome.
color
Yeah.
as well. Have you ever been an M guy?
Well,
See, I've always been an M guy. I had an E90 M3. I'm a big M guy.
I've driven 1 or 2 and they are cool, but I'm a Porsche guy,
A
so
little too heavy.
I just haven't spent enough time behind the wheel of one to really give you an answer right there. You know, I've test driven a few of them, and I've obviously seen them on the track going fast. And but I'm more of a vintage guy. Like I say, if it's a BMW and you can say have any one you want, give me the Batmobile.
Oh, that is amazing.
So that's where I'm at there.
What about Corvettes?
I saw 2 great Corvettes here. One was a 54 called Marilyn, which was owned by Carolyn, the white one with the red interior.
Yep.
And she was just a little firecracker, so that was awesome. And that 76 race car Corvette down there, that was like a monster beast, so that was pretty awesome too.
Amazing.
You know, the great thing about Corvette in a sense is, you know, they've sort of been making sports cars longer than anyone in continuous production.
Right.
But unlike Porsche, you can look at that Porsche from 1964 and the new one today, you can see the connection. The Corvette from 1954 doesn't quite look the same as the Corvette of today, so that's what separates Porsche from Corvette right there.
Well, and also the flat 6 motor that's always been back there.
Right.
I mean, that's, you know.
Yeah, Porsche's just built and expanded and improved along the way, but stuck to that rear-engined aesthetic, and you know that's been their whole thing the whole way through.
Now we have a beautiful collection of Bob Ingram's personal cars here. Obviously, you talk about the 911R. We have the 959 down there. We have a Speedster. We have this Sport Classic. We have the 904. Would you just want to steal one of these from him?
Well, it's interesting.
Would you want this collection yourself?
Well, let me tell you, we were invited down here by Bob, Rory, and Cam, and we visited the collection on Thursday when we came in. And it's just awe-inspiring. And I'll tell you, one of my favorite cars those guys have is, aside from the R car, is the Bruce Jennings 67S.
Oh, yeah.
That was one I was drawn to straight away. You know, obviously they've got all the RSs, you know, the 73, you know, the 964 RS, the 993 RS. So those guys have got a lot of cars I would like.
So,
Rumor has it they're having a 75 Turbo. I am looking for a 75 Turbo.
Man.
I was talking to Cam the other day. I told him they need to get a GT1 those guys could do with a GT1 in the collection, I think would be great.
Amazing.
But yeah, I mean, any one of these cars here would be really, really great, but the R car would be the one I would be taking.
Now, have you ever been into motorcycles or airplanes or boats or anything?
No, my brother's into bikes. I've always been a four-wheel guy. I love watching the Isle of Man TT because those guys are real men, real heroes.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I like watching MotoGP, but I'm a four-wheel guy. I'm a Porsche guy. I like watching Formula One.
So is Formula One your favorite racing series, or would you say Le Mans or Rally, or?
I love watching Formula One. Growing up as a kid in England in the 70s, I watched a lot of rally, and back then Roger Clark was like the English hero, the icon, and people were racing around in Ford Escort Mexicos and RS 1600s. So I always liked watching rally. Rally just seems a real skill. You know, that's an uncontrollable environment where you're, you know, basically you're the one controlling really what happens. So I love watching Formula One. I love watching rally. And I love watching anything where Porsches are racing. So
would you like
American
to see
Le Mans
Porsche back in rally car as well?
I think that would be great, Porsche rallying. Yeah, I think that'd be awesome.
Like some badass GT3s?
Yeah, rallying, doing hill climbs and stuff like
amazing.
that. Yeah, I think you'd probably see that in Europe. I think that'd be awesome.
Would you do it yourself though?
I'd like to try it. You know, never say no, right? You know, to get behind the wheel of anything is fun to go race around.
Now, any race car in history that you'd want to be behind the wheel of? Anything you think of off the top of your head?
An RSR would be great, 2.8 RSR.
That'd be amazing.
You know, 935, 934. You know, any of those cars I think would be great.
Now, what about favorite drivers in history? Anybody that you'd like to go back and meet or bring back to life?
Well, recently we met Vic Elford, we met Brian Redman, we met David Hobbs, we met Hurley Haywood. I met Patrick Long and took a hot lap with Patrick Long. We met Jeff Swart. So in the past 6 months, you know, I've been meeting a lot of what I think are racing legends, living legends, and racing heroes. You know, I'd like to meet Lewis Hamilton. I really like him. I think he's just an all-around cool guy. Jensen Button I admire.
I was going to say, I'm a big Jensen Button fan.
Yeah, you know, he's smooth. I like Lewis because he's aggressive. He's not afraid to take those risks. And, you know, I sort of feel myself as a similar type of driver.
What about Senna? You're an Ayrton Senna fan?
I love Senna. I saw the documentary. The Senna documentary was pretty awesome. I love that Lewis has got the Senna-inspired helmet. So yeah, I'd like to have met Senna. I'd actually like to meet Schumacher. I mean, a lot of people I'd like to meet. I'd like to meet Vettel because I think he's cool and cocky and he has talent. So, you know, there are a lot of people I'd like to meet. But to answer your question, recently over the past 6 months, we met a lot of Porsche racing legends.
Now, have you ever heard of an American guy by the name of Alex Roy, who has been all over the world? He's done road rallies.
Alex
Roy.
No, I'm afraid I haven't.
He has 10 2000 M5s that are all identical, and he's a part of a team that he calls Polizei 144.
Okay.
And he does road rallies, like gumball rallies.
Okay.
And he retired from them, but he's won a few in his M5s that he's had, and they have all these police stickers on them, and then he wears police uniforms.
Oh, even better.
Well,
Guy's got a sense of humor.
Yeah, he's got a great sense of humor.
Well, go ahead.
I was gonna say he has a Morgan 3-wheeler.
Oh, well, that's a pretty awesome car right there.
Want to drive that?
I'd like to drive a Morgan 3-wheeler, but to backtrack, I recently saw this epic documentary called 32 Hours, 7 Minutes.
That is Alex's documentary.
Well, he's the guy?
Yeah, he's the guy who did it.
Right, well, that documentary, I got approached by I guess that's the guy that recently approached me. He knew I'd bought that documentary, and it was all about, for those that don't know, the infamous Cannonball run that I guess was done in 81 in a 308 or 308 GTB in 32 hours and 7 minutes. And the whole story
Alex broke that record.
Well, right, the whole story was nobody thought that was possible. Right. So the documentary is the guy in the BMW M5 that broke the record in 31 hours and 10 minutes or something. And they had the light aircraft following them through the interstate.
Yeah.
And when I saw that film, I bought it at California Speedway at this PCA event about a month ago. And I rushed home, watched it within an hour of buying it, and the first thing I thought was, I should do this in a Porsche.
But so are you going to would you actually really do it?
Well, I've always wanted to do a cross-country trip. When I first came to America as a 19-year-old in '86, I took my first U.S. road trip from Detroit to L.A. on a Trailways bus.
Okay.
And I love driving, and I've yet to drive from coast to coast. So I can't think of a better car to do it in than a Porsche.
Now,
so if anyone out there at Porsche is listening and wants to loan me a car to do it, give me a call.
What if I'm able to get a Porsche and you take it from, say, Atlanta their U.S. headquarters all the way to L.A.
Well, I think that's
Or
a great.
LA to
I think you just came up with a spectacular, great idea.
All right.
It's funny how that magic works, right?
It always works that way.
Yeah, you know, you sow this seed, and all of a sudden, you're bouncing that idea back to me.
My
That's a
only
wonderful
question is,
idea.
Can I be in the car with you?
Well, of course, yeah.
All right.
Someone has to film it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
See, that's what I'm saying.
And can we do it in under 31 hours? I guess time will tell.
We will see.
Yeah,
now,
time will tell.
I know that it took Alex about 3 years worth of planning to do
And it took 2 attempts, according to that film.
Yes, and I actually know some of the guys like JF Musial, who was one of JF was actually like he worked for the New York DOT, I think. Actually, he was like a road engineer, and then Alex met him, found him, and hired him as basically a road engineer to help him plan out the whole mapping system.
Yeah, it seems like those guys had it really tricked out, and it was a shame when they broke down and the car got impounded. That bit was unbelievable.
Yeah.
When the highway patrol got involved in that. But I just thought the real cool bit about that video was when the plane was flying and they were trying to radar to them that there were 2 smokies on the side of the interstate, and they tucked in behind that 53-foot big rig and just cruised right past them. And they were looking for them, they didn't even know they went past them.
That's amazing.
And there was a shot from the airplane where you could see it. You guys did a good job.
So would you like to say something to Alex?
Hey man, I watched your video, 32 hours, 7 minutes. I wasn't aware of who you were then, but I was really inspired by watching that video, and you guys did a great job, and it was a spectacular effort, and maybe one of these days we'll hook up. So cheers and rock on.
Yeah, well, Alex does have a Porsche himself. He has an older 911.
Well, that's good to hear.
Sadly, I can't remember the year and the model, of course. You know, in the moment, I'm too excited, you know, talking to you.
Well, we're pretty buzzing on this Porsche goes coast to coast in under 31 hours attempt.
I can make it happen. I don't know about the airplanes, but I can definitely make the car happen.
Well, that sounds good to me.
Hell, if need be, we can do it in my Porsche.
Even better. Well, I got a few myself.
I'm willing to go to jail for this type of history.
Well, it sounds pretty good.
Well, listen, thank you so much.
It's been great talking to you.
It's been great, and thank you for coming to America and enlightening all of us on the greats of basically rebuilding Porsches.
Well, I'm just doing my thing, just doing what I love to do. I'd like to thank the people that put on the Pinehurst Concours, Jay Howard, Bob, Rory, and Cam Ingram, and we'll see you guys next year.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Take it easy.
You too.
Bye.